Very confident this is the first time that scientists analyzed materials from a large object, half a meter in size, that came from outside the solar system. More interestingly, this object was moving really fast, faster than 95% of the stars in the vicinity of the Sun.
Why does Antarctica appear on old maps from the 16th century based on medieval sailors' charts? Officially, it was discovered in 1820, so nobody in the 1500s should have known about its existence. Perhaps we're dealing with traces of a lost civilization whose connections provided our ancestors with much more information about the world surrounding them. Currently, Antarctica is a sparsely populated continent home to about 10,000 people, consisting of scientists, military personnel, and their support staff. Many have dedicated their lives to exploring this cold, mysterious place, a vast icy desert with unique natural conditions. Arguably, it's the best location for an extraterrestrial base, allowing its inhabitants to remain unnoticed for as long as they wish. What do we know about Antarctica? It's an incredible place, a continent unlike any other on Earth. Here are 5 key facts about Antarctica. It's the coldest place on Earth. During the winter months, temperatures can drop to 112 degrees AF. Some areas have even recorded lower temperatures. The largest freshwater reserve, Antarctica holds about 70% of all freshwater resources on Earth. If all the ice on the continent were to melt, global sea levels would rise by over 60 meters, continuous daylight and polar night. In the southern parts of the continent, the sun doesn't set during summer, resulting in constant daylight. Conversely, in winter, the sun doesn't rise, and weeks can pass in complete darkness. Exceptional biological adaptation. Despite the extreme conditions, one can find diverse life in Antarctica. Penguins, whales, marine vertebrates, and microorganisms capable of surviving in cryogenic conditions. An international treaty. Antarctica is the only continent without permanent residents, protected by the Antarctic Treaty. This treaty prohibits military actions and resource extraction, eliminating territorial disputes and international conflicts. Instead, Antarctica is dedicated to scientific research and international cooperation. The Antarctic Treaty is unique as it effectively bans military activities and has ensured the demilitarization of the continent to this day. This means the absence of military forces, bases, and armed conflicts in the region. The demilitarization of Antarctica was one of the primary objectives of the Antarctic Treaty, signed in 1959, and which took effect in 1961. This treaty established a unique international governance regime for Antarctica, designating it a zone of peace with strict environmental protections and promoting collaboration among nations with varied interests in the region. The impetus for these measures was highly significant for the mid-20th century. During World War II, Nazi Germany conducted several Antarctic expeditions, researching and staking claims to territories in Antarctica. These missions were part of a strategy to explore and extract resources from various parts of the world. Among the most notable was Operation Schwabenland in 1938-1939, organized jointly by the German Geographical Society and the military. This expedition involved aerial photography, probing, and the creation of detailed maps of the region. It was one of the first missions that genuinely explored Antarctica's inner parts, symbolically dropping thousands of darts with Nazi insignia over an area spanning 140,000 square miles. During World War II, islands in the southern Atlantic were used as supply ship bases to support German submarines operating in the region. There are also several theories and conspiracy claims suggesting that Nazi Germany might have established secret bases or facilities in Antarctica. However, these claims are unsubstantiated and not supported by reliable sources. In the post-war years, many countries, including the USA and the Soviet Union, conducted Antarctic research and participated in crafting the Antarctic Treaty. As such, any purported activities or bases set up by Nazi Germany would have been illegal and in violation of international agreements. Nonetheless, prior to the treaty's signing, the USA utilized Antarctica for military purposes, venturing there immediately after World War II concluded. Operation High Jump was a significant military and scientific expedition organized by the United States in 1946, officially aiming to explore and study Antarctica. This operation stands as one of the most extensive and ambitious Antarctic programs in history. Here's some information about it. The primary goal of Operation High Jump was to conduct comprehensive research and observations in Antarctica. This encompassed naval, aerial photography, meteorological, geological, biological, and other scientific investigations. The operation also involved military drills and experiments. The expedition was led by Admiral Richard Byrd, renowned for his polar expeditions. He commanded a large fleet and aircraft, bringing together military personnel, scientists, and specialists from various fields. Operation High Jump involved hundreds of people, including military and researchers. The expedition employed several ships, including the aircraft carrier USS Philippine Sea, as well as planes and helicopters for aerial photography and equipment transportation. Operation High Jump lasted from December 1946 to February 1947. Despite its ambition, the operation faced challenges, including extreme weather conditions that led to technical issues. Not all objectives were met. Despite its constraints, the expedition garnered valuable scientific data, leaving behind a scientific legacy, which included creating detailed maps and studying Antarctica's climate. Unofficial objectives of High Jump are said to include plans to locate military bases of Nazi Germany, test military equipment and gear in extreme conditions, train the vanguard of the armed forces, providing them with a unique experience of training in almost space-like conditions. Under the leadership of Admiral Richard Byrd, military drills were conducted which might be necessary in the event of sudden changes in circumstances. Indeed, it's hard to imagine a place more unfamiliar for an experienced soldier than Antarctica. The operation involved using a large fleet of ships and airplanes to transport equipment, personnel, and materials. This was associated with the organization and coordination of logistics, but also had military significance. There are claims that High Jump operation might have included secret tasks such as exploration and aerial photography of the inner areas of Antarctica. However, there's no confirmed evidence of such secret missions. It would be foolish to deny their existence, considering all the theories associated with the continent. Let's return to the fact of the existence of detailed contours of Antarctica on world maps from the 1500s. We must remember that map-making in the 16th century was a labor-intensive process based on discoveries from many centuries. Cartographers collected information about the terrain using available data such as reports from sailors, guidebooks, old maps, and written descriptions. After that, they created map sketches, usually by hand, using mechanical tools like compasses and navigation instruments. Cartographers could also take measurements of distances and angles on site. Information and sketches were transferred to large sheets of parchment or paper, typically using ink and quill. Dimensions and proportions of the terrain might have been approximated and the scale of the map adjusted manually. Cartographers added details like cities, rivers, mountains, and coastlines. They might use decorations and illustrations to make the map more appealing. Maps in the 16th century were far from perfect, and they often were updated and corrected as new data was received. They required precision and talent from the cartographers. As a result of this process, maps were created which were important tools for navigation and expanding knowledge about geography. But wait, if to create a map, it was necessary to get a report from sailors who visited new shores, then where did Antarctica come from on medieval schemes? It wasn't populated, No trade expeditions were sent there, and the region was too harsh for explorers of that time. Even for the official discoverers of Antarctica, the task was on the verge of achievement and was a gradual process related to the research of various sailors and researchers at different times. Here, there's not even one victor. 1820, American sailor Nathan Palmer and British sailor Edward Bransfield Turnbull were perhaps the first to see the Antarctic coastline in 1820, although they did not manage to set foot on land. 1820-1821. Russian explorers Fabian Gottlieb von Bellingshausen and Mikhail Lazarev discovered the Antarctic mainland between 1820 and 1821, circumnavigating the globe and traveling along the Antarctic coast. 1837, French explorer Jules Dumont d'Urville was among the first to land on the coast of Antarctica in 1837. 1839, 1843, British sailor James Ross embarked on an expedition to the southern seas and traversed the Antarctic Strait in 1841. His research confirmed that Antarctica is indeed a continent. 1893, Norwegian explorer Carl Anton Larsen became the first person to truly set foot on the Antarctic continent in 1893. Only by the end of the 19th century did the representation of the continent on maps align with the discoveries of these brave individuals. Yet the borders did not undergo significant changes compared to ancient depictions of our world. It is an apt time to recall the theory about inhabitants from other planets settling in Antarctica during the medieval era or even the early modern period and allegedly interacting with the seafarers of that era. Perhaps this was the period when extraterrestrials might have been studying Earth and humanity wasn't yet preoccupied with cosmic questions. Undoubtedly, an Antarctic native would have looked odd, but a medieval traveler was prepared for oddities. In new lands, he met people with unusual skin colors, strange bodies, speaking in incredible languages. A well-prepared humanoid extraterrestrial would hardly have surprised him. A map of their lands, the Antarctic coast, might have been a good reason to establish a connection with humanity. Yes, Antarctica, as a mysterious and lesser-known continent, has been and remains a source of various myths and legends. You've surely heard of them. Antarctic Atlantis. There's a theory suggesting that beneath the thick ice layer of Antarctica lies remnants of an ancient civilization lost before the Ice Age. Some even speculate that this could be the sunken continent of Atlantis. UFOs and aliens. There are beliefs that Antarctica witnesses unusual phenomena and unidentified flying objects. UFOs to this day making the region a hotspot for extraterrestrial activity and mysteries. Mysteries of the past, such as the disappearance of Robert Scott's expedition in 1912 and enigmatic formations found on the ocean floor surrounding the continent. Unknown creatures. Claims exist about unknown cryptic marine creatures lurking in the waters of the Antarctic Ocean. If you dream of unraveling one of these mysteries, wish to see an extraterrestrial presence, or desire an ultra-extreme experience, Antarctica awaits you, ready to offer quite a comfortable stay. One of the continent's continuously operating camps states on its page, "Bring us your Antarctic dream and we will help make it a reality." We have the logistical capabilities and experience to provide support to almost any type of expedition to the interior of Antarctica. According to the organizers, they have collaborated with TV and film crews, physically challenged adventurers, families, individuals, scientists, and national Antarctic programs. Whether a client plans to ski, kitesurf, bike, or drive to the pole and beyond, they promise to make that plan come to life. The agency indeed serves private researchers, bloggers, and well-funded Antarctic science popularisers. Through this agency, a network of field camps operates, ski planes provide continental transport, tourists are transported from airports in South America and Southern Africa, and permits for stays and expeditions are issued.